BRICS is not, in my opinion, not a serious threat. But what they're trying to do is destroy the dollar so that another country can take over and be the standard. And we're not going to lose the standard at any time. If you have a smart president, you will never lose the standard. If you have a stupid president like the last one, you would lose the standard. You wouldn't have the dollar as you. And
you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
If we lost the world standard dollar, that would be like losing a war, a major world war. We would not be the same country any longer. We're not going to let that happen. The dollar, you ever hear the expression, dollar is king?
Shut your stupid...
Hey, you heard that? That, my friends, was the sound of another nail being hammered in the coffin of the US dollar. For decades, it's been the undisputed king, the global bully, dictating terms and holding economies hostage. But guess what? That party's over. And the latest guests to leave the dollar's sad little shindig? Egypt and China. Yeah, you heard that right. The land of pharaohs and the dragon just dropped a bombshell that the mainstream media is desperately trying to ignore. But we won't, because the truth, unlike the dollar, is eternal. Stay tuned, because we're about to expose how this isn't just a blip. It's a blueprint for the dollar's destruction. And trust me, you're going to want to screenshot these receipts.
Egypt and China entered into 3 financial cooperation agreements on Thursday. The main topics of discussion included the creation of agreements to facilitate trade in local currencies and the settlement of bilateral commercial payments in Egyptian pounds and Chinese yuan. 3 protocols were signed, one of which links the Suez Canal Bank with the China-Africa Trader Investment Company and the Chinese cross-border interbank payment system, aimed at encouraging the use of Chinese yuan in the Sino-Egyptian Economic Cooperation Zone. Additionally, both countries stressed the significance of enhancing the presence of Chinese banks in Egypt and Egyptian banks in China to bolster joint investments and support stable and sustainable.
So let's get straight to it. Egypt and China signed agreements that fundamentally undermine the dollar's reign. We're talking about a full-blown financial divorce from the Greenback. So what's the deal? Local currency swap agreements. This isn't just a handshake, it's a direct bypass of the dollar. They'll trade in their own currencies, the Egyptian pound and the Chinese yuan. No more Uncle Sam taking a cut. They also agreed on payment settlements in local currency. Forget SWIFT. Forget the dollar-denominated financial plumbing. They're building their own pipes. This means direct sovereign transactions, free from Washington's watchful eye. And of course, issuance of Panda bonds. Egypt is now issuing bonds in Chinese yuan. This isn't just about borrowing money, it's about embracing the yuan as a legitimate investable currency. It's a direct slap in the face to dollar supremacy and connectivity between payment systems. They're not just talking, they're building the infrastructure. This is about creating a parallel financial universe where the dollar is irrelevant. This isn't some abstract economic theory. It's happening right now, and it's a direct consequence of a world fed up with dollar dominance.
This is the system China's building to kill SWIFT and eventually bypass the US dollar. This is part 2. mBridge stands for Multi-CBDC Bridge, and it's a blockchain platform created by China, the UAE, Thailand, and Hong Kong, along with the Bank of International Settlement. But let's cut through all these headlines here. This isn't just some pilot project. mBridge is already processing real cross-border transactions between central banks. It lets countries settle trade in their own digital currencies instantly without needing the US dollar or SWIFT. Most people don't realize that global trade relies on the USD, not because it's efficient, but because it's dominant. And mBridge flips that. No correspondent banks, no dollar lag, and no US oversight. Instead, it used permissioned blockchain run by central banks themselves. Each country mints their own digital currency and settles directly CBDC to CBDC. This is how China settles with the UAE for oil using the digital dirham and digital yuan without touching the dollar. And this isn't theoretical. As of late 2023, the MVP is live with 20 central banks either testing or watching closely. So why does this matter? Well, because this is the infrastructure for the new trade ecosystem outside of the dollar, built by states for states, and the US can't sanction what it can't see.
For too long, the dollar has enjoyed an exorbitant privilege. It's been the global reserve currency, the go-to for international trade, giving the US unparalleled power. But the cracks are showing, and they're getting wider. Don't believe the corporate media's lullabies about dollar strength. The data tells a different story. The dollar's share in global reserve is shrinking. At the end of 2024, it fell to 57.8%, the lowest since 1994. That's down from over 70% in 2000 and 65% just 10 years ago. This isn't a blip, it's a trend. And the yuan is on the rise. While still a challenger, the Chinese yuan is steadily gaining ground. It's being used more in payments, trade finance, investment, and even reserves. In June, it accounted for 4.61% of global payments, securing its position as the fourth most active currency. Some data even suggests it surpassed the US dollar by 2.5% in August 2024 for certain transactions. That might not sound like much, but it's a significant leap from obscurity. And it's not just Egypt and China. Countries like Russia, India, Brazil, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and even some in Africa are actively seeking alternatives. They're tired of being vulnerable to US sanctions and monetary policy. This isn't about whether the dollar will disappear tomorrow, it's about the erosion of its unchallenged power, a slow bleed that will eventually lead to its irrelevance.
The dollar has been declining, but Trump has pushed it over the cliff. American power comes from the dollar. It's the currency the world trades in, and that's what gives the dollar power. But it's being replaced because in 1971, Nixon wisely took the dollar off the gold standard. This means that the only thing that gives the dollar value is the belief that the dollar has value. And that belief comes from the stability of the US government. The American Republican Party in general, and Trump and Musk specifically, had put an end to that stability. Under Trump, global dollar reserves dropped to their lowest point in 25 years. BRICS launched a system to bypass the dollar. The US debt crossed 38 trillion. Now, 16% of the US budget goes to pay the interest, just the interest on the debt. This puts the US in a terrible situation. Interest payments become unsustainable. The central bank keeps interest rates low to delay the collapse, and then the downturn begins. Debt stifles spending, asset prices stall or decline, defaults and bankruptcies rise. The economy slows sharply. The US is or will soon be in this crisis phase. People, companies, and governments reduce debt, spending drops, asset prices crash. The government may step in with bailouts or stimulus, and the central bank cuts interest rates if possible. If not, they simply print more money. The currency weakens, inflation and stagflation rise, and this leads to rising inequality, political division, calls for redistribution, protectionism, and populism emerge. Sound familiar if you're in the US? Eventually, internal conflict intensifies, domestic and foreign investors lose confidence, the dollar loses value, and it's the end game, which is restructuring or collapse, and a new monetary system or global order emerges. The cycle takes 50 to 75 years on average. The US is in the 80th year of the cycle.
Why is Egypt's role so crucial in this unfolding drama? Because Egypt isn't some minor player. It's a strategic powerhouse, and its moves send ripples across the globe. Egypt has a lot of economic clout. Egypt's GDP is estimated at a hefty $383 to $407 billion dollars in 2024. This isn't a small economy. It's a significant player in the Middle East and Africa. And in regards to trade with China, bilateral trade between China and Egypt hit $17.378 billion in 2024. China is a massive trading partner, and shifting this volume away from the dollar is a direct hit to its global transactional dominance. Let's not forget the Suez Canal. This isn't just a ditch, it's one of the world's most vital arteries for global trade, connecting East and West. A significant portion of global energy, commodities, and goods pass through it. When a country controlling such a choke point starts ditching the dollar, the world pays attention. And Egypt's foreign exchange reserves have been on the rise, reaching over $48 billion in April 2025. This financial stability gives them more leverage to pursue independent currency policies. This isn't just about economics, it's about geopolitics. It's about a shift in global power, and the dollar is caught in the crosshairs.
It's only a matter of time until the world increasingly de-dollarizes. De-dollarization is already underway. So if you juxtapose those things together, then you ask, do we have a crisis? Well, I think we do, but no one's really talking about it. The Germans and the Italians have both said, please send us our gold. That's $143 billion worth of gold. Please send us our gold. And the answer is silence. So now people once again are asking the question, where's the gold? Do we actually have it? All of these people stored their gold under the streets of New York City in these banks. Where is it? If it's not there, what have you done with it?
So what does this all mean for the average person in the West? It means prepare for a world where your purchasing power might be challenged, where global trade looks different, and where the economic landscape is far less predictable. The dollar's decline could lead to increased inflation. As demand for the dollar wanes, its value could drop, making imports more expensive and fueling domestic inflation. And there's obviously a shift in global power. A weaker dollar means a weaker US influence on the world stage. This will impact everything from trade deals to international relations. The Egypt-China agreement isn't just a footnote. It's a loud, clear signal. The dollar's dominance is eroding, and the world is moving on. Don't let the talking heads on cable news tell you otherwise. Do your own research, look at the data, and most importantly, prepare. Because the future isn't dollar denominated, and those who adapt will be the ones who thrive. Like this video, subscribe for more inconvenient truths, and share it with anyone who still believes the dollar is invincible. The clock is ticking. Are you listening?